Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mike Power. For those that don't know me, I'm running for the EST position for the New York City District Council of Carpenters under the slate Stop the Merge, Stop the Steal, Stop the Lies, along with Pete Corrigan for president and Anthony Vincent for vice president. So basically, I have some questions that were given to me. I wrote some stuff down here. I got a little piece of paper to clarify some stuff that's going on with the membership. Well, we have about 18 days left for the ballots to be going out, right? And I want to address some serious concerns that were affecting the members on some of the information that's been given out on the job site and some stuff that was told to the apprentices as well. The way they try to use these word salads and twist words around, to me, frankly, is an insult to the intelligence of most of our members. I mean, and the majority of the members I've met understand what's going on, and they kind of caught along to the narrative that they're trying to do. For example, I ran into a union delegate on a job site one day, Mike Martinez, right, from local 926. And, he kind of believes, or he's trying to sell the fact, I should say, that this merger is going to be good for us, right? First they called it, first it was called a merger, then it was called a consolidation, and now they're saying it's okay, the merger. And so anyway, when I sat there, I was talking to the other guys he was working with. A lot of them were from Westchester and Long Island locals. And those members were totally saying, don't do this merger. It happened to us. We got screwed. But Mike Martinez puts his narrative out on it. And he's saying, no, this is going to be good for us. And, this guy's a delegate to the council, right? He was also a delegate to a convention. And he's trying to sell his narrative on what he thinks it is. And he actually said while I was standing there that I have it all wrong and that there's federal law out there protecting us in the merger, the pension. If we don't like things going down the road, that we could take back the funds from McCarran, right? And I was like, seriously, Pete Corrigan was standing next to me. I said, Pete, stop talking to him. He's a lost cause. He has no idea what he's talking about. And, my attitude with that was, I didn't know what bothered me more. The person who probably told him this, right? How stupid that person was, how naive he is to believe it, and how fucking stupid he is for repeating it. I just don't understand for the life of me, Mike Martinez, but when you do hear this video, and you probably will, someone will probably give it to you, I still to this day can't believe you made that comment. That statement just blows my mind. Anybody with any clear common sense would know that the idea of the merger is they're going to take the funds, and whether it's a merger of the council, as soon as the money's there, they have total control. It's no different than me taking your wallet out of your pocket, taking your credit cards and your money away from you, and handing it back an empty wallet. Anybody with any type of common sense realizes that that's an issue. But if you believe that, listen, all the power to you, brother. Happy dreams. I don't know what you're drinking, but whatever. You want to believe the nonsense, I guess you can believe it. I think you're going to have a hard time selling it to most of the membership. I think the election will prove it, but I don't know how anyone with common sense can buy into it. But so then they try to put a spin on everything, guys, about the medical, right? They say Mike's saying that they're going to merge the medical. First of all, understand something, guys. The medical's already been merged, all right? If you guys all remember, they merged this with Blue Cross Blue Shield Independent, right? So in that merger or that consolidation, however you guys want to call it, when they moved up medical over to that, they told you guys that nothing would change with the medical, right? As you all know, I don't have to explain it to you. You've all been to the doctors. You've all used your medical. And it went to shit. Basically, in a nice word, that's the only way I can describe it to you. That's the way it went. What most of you don't understand is that the PBM, the management firm that manages Blue Cross Blue Cross Independent, is Frank Spencer. Frank Spencer is the second general vice president for the International, who actually ended up stepping down because he didn't show income coming out of his ML2s from these insurance companies, which is one of the reasons why he's resigned from his position. And now he's running these insurance companies. How he got vetted for this stuff, guys, your guess is as good as mine. So now he's working on starting a prescription plan company called Pharmacy Level Care. I think it's going to be marketed through Express Scripts. I'm not exactly sure, but you can go on the website. I'm actually going to put some links and I'll do a post right after this, briefly showing you all the information that I'm telling you, because by all means, I want you guys to, and women, to do your own fact checking yourself, right? So it'll show him at 201 Carpenter Drive in Las Vegas is where the headquarters is going to be. I had some people reach out to Paul Caperso and people in the council seeing how this was even done, how they were vetted. No one can give me that answer. I think it was supposed to be put to the attorneys. But once again, if a question can't be answered and they're narrating it to the attorneys and nobody wants to direct answer the question, tells me something's not right with it. Listen, I don't know for sure that if Frank is offering us the best medical for the bang for our buck, I don't know, but common sense would tell you, doing business, anything like this, you would do with 3 or 4 vendors. You would negotiate different deals and you'd see which one would give you the best buck. You wouldn't just hand it over to somebody. And I don't know why they would vet Frank Spencer to be the management company for this, but who knows? And I guess when I win this election, we'll have those questions answered for you, right? The main concern here, guys, is we all want to make sure that, and I want to make sure when I'm elected, that all members, all my brothers and sisters are getting the best medical for themselves and their family, right? For the best value that we can get them. I want to make sure that our members are covered, right? Get the best dental coverage, best eyeglass coverage, work at the best deal, Blue Cross Blue Shield, to see who's going to give us the best coverage, right? That's the bottom line. I mean, that at the very least is what we joined the union for, right? Good pension, good medical, good annuity. That's what you want. Have dignity when retire and everything like that. They turn around and they're trying to tell us about this merger, right? And I think one of the numbers, they said, they paid a judge hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? Probably her firm, to remove the consent decree and stipulation order away from the pension fund so they could do this merger, right? So not even focusing on the benefit fact of it. That's what they did. So they spent that money and they did it to open the door to this merger, right? Because I guess it would have been a lot harder to merge the council. It's just easier to pull the mondo away. And let's face it, at the end of the day, as long as you get the money, what else does it really matter, right? And then from there, they'll branch off and they'll grow into whatever they want to do. The fact that they're taking the money baffles me, right? And but now they turn around and they turn to, Paul gets up and says, we're just looking into it. And so does Dave Capoloso. And they're saying, we're going to make a decision whether or not we're going to do this merger. Listen, guys, they make a lot of statements that make no sense, right? They tell you that they're going to save you $46 million. And if they take it with that money, $46 million, you're like, that means they must have a hard number somewhere. You would think that, because I've asked the question, where did the 46 number come from, right? I did a rough estimate. I looked at what the expenses was on the ML2s and what they charge for the management of these funds. And I guess if they merged everything, because I don't know where they come up to 46 million, they'd be saying if they took all the funds and what those funds would be in charged, all those numbers would equal 46 million. But that no longer would be the problem, right? Because you'd be taking a $16 billion fund and just having that managed, right? You wouldn't, how am I going to put it? You can't take, if you're turning your leases for 5 cars, right? You can't turn around and say, well, I saved $8,000 a month because all 5 cars went back. No, you got one lease now, and that lease is $1,200 a month. So the numbers still there. So I did the numbers on it, and I think I came around 14 million. I just took a wild shot number on what I thought the numbers would be, and 14 million over 25 years, about $500,000 if my numbers come out correctly, which is really just a drop in a bucket when you think about the billions of dollars involved in this fund. But they try to tell you they're going to save this money. I find it very hard to believe that they came up with a $46 million thing, which kind of contradicts the fact that they're saying they're going to save us $46 million, but they can't tell you where they came up with that number or how that number appears. Then they tell you that they're only just looking into it. Well, if you're only just looking into it, then if you have to really be looking into something if you're going to come up with a $46 million savings, right? Like, I got to be calculating some serious numbers, or I'm just pulling it out of my ass one way or another, right? There's only 2 ways to figure it out. Like, either they're just totally just snowballing us, or they really have something going here. And if that's the case, then they're working on this and they're really trying to push this stuff. So once again, they're just lying to us, right? That's basically it. The whole thing seems way too fishy to me, especially when you come up with statements like, it's a consolidation and now it's not a consolidation. The whole thing appears very, very fishy to me. It makes me nervous because these decisions are going to affect our members, right, and their families. So the question would be, the money they are going to save for us, would we really see those savings? How would those savings affect us? And once again, if they're saying the statement is true, because on one hand, they turn around telling us, on this hand, right, they're telling us that they're just looking into it, right? They don't know. And then on this hand, they're telling you, we're going to save you all this money. I'm planning you a vacation trip, but I never even looked at the vacation and what it's going to cost us, but I'm going to make you all this money. Um, it's just ridiculous, guys. So anyway, I just wanted to answer these questions for some of you that keep sending me text messages about it. I hope that this is very informational for you. I wish I could give you more answers to it. I've reached out to the council myself. Nobody wants to answer the question. I don't think they have the answers to the question. How they would, if they would save us $46 million, I'm assuming that $46 million would go to the general fund that would be merged into. What profit would we see on that? I don't know. I will tell you one thing, the things that scare me the most is that, every merger seems to be the same, right? Retirement age seems to go up, lifetime medical goes away for the retirees. Now, do these PBM funds, right, that they deal with, they take in this insurance money, does that affect their profit, right? Because if these PBM funds are run by Frank Spencer, right, and he's got everyone in the council, former employees of the district council for the international working for these funds, they're going to have to turn around and try to maximize their profit. And what an easiest way to do it would then be to cut retirement medical, right? You would cut retirement medical and your profit shares, your profit savings go up, right? That's what makes sense to me. The whole thing just seems like you got both hands in our pockets taking, making sure all my money's gone. I think somebody needs to sit down that's got some good character and really say no. Like, this needs to be absolutely not. Or, they have to put together a really good proposal with real numbers and real facts and give that to the membership. I think the members should be making decisions on this. That's why I totally believe that, in the final stipulation in order, when we negotiate this in court, on the court end, we should be putting verbiage in there to make this stuff part of the final stipulation orders for two reasons. First of all, it secures anything from being changed down the road, because if you put it into the bylaws, they can always be changed down the road, right? But the final stipulation order would be a federal thing, and it'd be locked in there, and it'd be anything like major stuff like this would have to go to a membership vote or be cleared by a delegate board. Just an idea on how to do this. Maybe we could work this out with the government just to make sure that something like this wouldn't happen again, and that proper information would have to be given to all the members so they can make a decision to either discuss it with their delegates or go to their meetings and at least have some type of say in this, because for people just coming out and throwing out numbers around, I think it's a little crazy. What they did in the last election and this election, and just like try to, insult people's intelligence by saying, it's not a merger, it's a consolidation, and then there was no merger in the last election. Might say they were going to merge the council, but we're really just merging the funds. Anybody who's got any common sense out there knows that, when you hit a certain age and you get to your 40s in this business, especially 45, that you start counting your days when years until you're going to get out of the business, right? And what happened in Chicago was devastating, right? They moved the retirement age from 55 to 65, and I've posted the information, and they're going to give you guys a penalty of 5% is what they're going to give them for every year they get out before 55. So it's a 30% hit for a lot of people. That would pretty much cover the pension. It would change their pension on how a lot of people taking that hit would be able to extend that pension on to their wives or something like that, or their significant others if they were to pass away. You'd have to take the other option and get the most money for your buck. It's stuff that these are serious decisions, and then we can't joke around. I make some jokes while I make these videos to make them more humorous for you, but when you think about it, this is some scary stuff, guys. This is really scary stuff. We want to make sure that the people in the room negotiating this are taking it as seriously as it is, and that they're doing this in the best interest of all the membership. When I was a delegate, that's what I focused on. It wasn't about me. It's about what I believe it's the right thing to do. Some of these delegates, when they go into the room, they're being told what to do. That never happened to me. I did have people try to persuade me in things, and I refused to cave in. Made a few people pissed off at me, but hell, that's all right. I pissed people off a lot of times in my life. It is what it is. But I always have to wake up in the morning and look at myself in the mirror and make sure I did the right things to the members. And I think a lot of people know my repetition precedes itself. Sorry, I'm shot. So, repetition precedes myself. So, the members out there, they got to ask some hard questions, and when you got doubt, I always believe go with your gut. So, my gut put me into this race. It made me run, right? I asked a lot of questions. Nobody would answer my questions. I got a little anxious on things, and I said to myself, you know what? they pulled me back into the politics. I thought I'd never be back in these games again and playing these politic games with people, but here I am. No hard feelings. I'm back in it. I'm giving it my 100% all. And when I make it, anyone who knows me, I don't back down from a fight or an argument. I'm always there, especially when I know I'm right and my heart's in the right place. When I know I'm going to make a difference in something, I fight twice as hard. So I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't really believe I'm going to make a difference to the members. And that's what I want to make sure happens. So with that being said, guys and ladies, 18 more days, right? 18 more days of ballots are out. So if they go out on a Wednesday, I figure most of you will have it by that Saturday. It's very important that we take pictures of everything, send messages out to everyone we know on our phone. Let's get these ballots back. Let's get these numbers up, Yeah, I want to win, but I want to win by big numbers. I want to make sure that they receive the message and the message comes in loud and clear. When I get in there, I'm going to make sure that we put a stop to this merger. I'm going to ask questions about the medical, and then if I don't like the answers I'm getting, we're going to sit down with the attorneys, and we're going to sit down with other vendors, and we're going to get the best medical for our members, right? And we're going to make sure our hours are correct, and we're going to get the right organizers. We're going to combine job titles, and we're going to make sure that people are held accountable to their positions. There's rumors of guys, business agents in Brooklyn, that were sleeping in their car. It's a known joke in the council. That's not going to happen anymore. I'll sit down with Rich Green, the IG. I will go over any investigations he did, anybody that was caught or done anything that was wrong and deceived the membership or didn't do their jobs will be fired immediately. I will fire those people immediately. I believe when you take these jobs, you're accountable to the members and to their families, and I will focus on that. So with that being said, I will give everyone a fair shot. I let everyone do their job, and that's all I'm going to ask for everyone. I'll be the first person in there too. I'm going to make sure that I do everything correctly. Listen, nobody's perfect. That's why they put erasers on pencils. We're going to do the best we can, and if something's not working, we're going to switch lanes. We're going to make sure things get done correctly. I want to go after the market share. I want to sit down with these contractors. I'm going to touch base with developers that we lost connections with and see if they want to come speak with us and see if we can get back at the table to try to negotiate some new stuff. Building our workforce back and getting this work is going to help us combat the non-union. Hopefully with this new administration in the White House, the attacks on the ISIS and, illegal workers and the people are being exploited. Hopefully that'll tighten up a little bit more. And these people that are building are going to need to turn more to laborers that can supply the labor rate and the work ahead of it, right? And we want to make sure that people that are working are being represented and that they're getting the proper wages. So that's our main goal here, and that's the main goal of the union. So with that said, we're almost at 20 minutes. I didn't want to go this far in the first place. I wanted to do a quick 5-minute video, but like me, I always start talking. I can't shut up, right? So everybody, enjoy your weekend. If anyone has any questions, by all means, send me a text message, send me an email. I'll do the best I can to answer these questions for you. And enjoy the rest of your weekend, all right? And keep an eye on the mail for those ballots. Thanks a lot. Thank you for your support.